find out we grew up probably a mile away from each other, didn't know it. And the interesting thing about this area of town is, like, no one makes it out alive. And I'm dead serious. It wasn't a good place. And I'm like, really? So you turned out okay. How did that happen? You know? But it's just interesting as you start getting to know one another a little bit. But how's it been so far, guys? You know what? I've sensed some energy at this event this weekend that we haven't felt in a really long time. It feels like all systems are go and that the pistons are firing. Does that feel that way to you guys? I mean, there's an energy. I think that people are seeing the vision. I think we're going in a direction that we need to go, and you're here at a good time. And prior to just kind of wrapping this up, I want to kind of tip my hat and recognize the fact that everybody has come together. Those of you that are new, how many of you guys are here for the first time? I see your hands. Okay, almost all of you guys are new. And what you need to understand is just about everybody that participates in this event, behind the scenes here and in the crowd as leaders, they're all kind of sidelined to one another, meaning that they don't make money off one another, but they're here to help lift everybody else. And that's a unique situation in this industry. You know, because we realize if we come together like that, we're going to really do some things with this company companies just don't do. Okay, and so you are the right place. Let's get everyone a hand, including yourself, for being here. Okay? My job today is to kind of bring everything together and kind of crystallize it if I can. Some days I'm better at it than others. Hopefully I can do a decent job today. But, you know, I was talking to Jed before he came up, and he's going through a real emotional time, in case you didn't notice. And the moral of the story there with Jed that I really want to bring out is the fact that he can be there for those important times. You know, there's things that happen in your life, and you just have to be able to be there. And if you're not there, you can't get that time back. And I think it's important to understand that. Life happens, and what this business can do for you, it can create an environment where you don't have to fall prey to someone else's clock on the important times in your life. And, you know, the passing of our parents is one of those times, all right? So there's some heavy stuff here that goes on in our lives. And I want you to know there's not a team leader or Blue Diamond that doesn't go through something unbelievable, you know, to get where they're at. So if you're wrestling with something in your life, just know that's par for the course. You're normal, okay? You're not weird, okay? Stuff happens, but we've got to rise above it. And hopefully we can all do that. Let's talk about the business for just a second. And what I want to do here is I'll kind of weave my story into this as we move forward. I think the first thing, though, that you and I need to understand is that we've been given a gift here today. You know, you guys have had a chance to kick the bricks and kind of hear from people that have had some success in this business. And the people we try to put on stage aren't people that have written a book about it. They're not people that have, done something where they're kind of coaching you on how to do it. They've done it. All right? Otherwise, they're not here. They've done it. So you're talking to people that are experts in the business because they've been in the trenches and they've proved it. All right? And so that's a beautiful thing. They're giving us a gift today. And that gift really, I don't think that you can find an opportunity like Nu Skin ever again. I don't. Because it's taken 30 years to come to this point. You know, we're going from 3 to 10 billion. And we're going to create a moment in time. When we look back 10, 15 years from now, we're going to say, you know what? That was the sweet spot. That was the chance in my life to really make a difference and have an impact that will carry me through not just my lifetime, but possibly generations of my children. Okay? Because that's what we're doing here. This company will be here for decades. All right? And we're establishing a foundation where we will become the largest direct sales company in the world one day. And if you're part of that fabric, your life can change forever. And if you're not part of that fabric, your life will change forever as well. Because you will have to watch it happen. Okay, so this gift, we look at it and we realize that with these trips, these LTO cycles, and 10 billion by 2020, we're sitting in a really good spot. Okay, and I'm not going to go into detail on these business cycles because Gary did a great job of this, but these things work almost like magic. Since they've been instituted, what you've seen, if you look at the statistics of the company, it's just ratcheted volumes up, and it's set us really on a blistering pace to where we are going to go to 10 billion. And it's kind of infused with this. And so you take those 6-month cycles, and it's kind of like eating an elephant. You got to do it a bite at a time, right? This gives you a chance to take a bite. I mean, when I started the business, it's like, oh, get to Blue Diamond. Well, what does that mean? And how do I do that? If it was like, hey, get to the trip, get to Ruby. You know, if you could break it down in bites, I think it would be easier to get to that spot. And I think we would have more and more people that would have gotten to a successful spot if we had this kind of presentation and understanding back then. And so it's really a track. Don't try to figure it out, just follow it. All right? And as we do that, then you realize, is this going to be better in my future if I have Nu Skin as part of it or without it? And the truth of the matter is, obviously, you want it in your life. But it's not a birthright. It's not something that's just going to be given to us. You and I have to earn this. And in some cases, depending on what your goals are, it will tax you. Okay, now, I know everyone's here today. I'm assuming that everybody here wants to aspire to climb to the top of the compensation plan. My attitude is, why would you not want that? Now, if your goal here is just to be a distributor, I'm sorry, you've been abused a little bit over the last couple of days because everyone's talking with aggressive talk. Okay, but this is not Distributor University. It's Team Elite University. There's a reason it's called that. All right? Now, with that, there is a home here for everybody. Most people that come into this business don't become Team Elites. And it's interesting, along the way, that doesn't mean they're not successful. We've got all kinds of successful people that haven't climbed to the top. I mean, if somebody truly needs $5,000 a month in their life, that's a residual benefit. In other words, at some point it continues to come in, whether they're pushing, their nose to the grindstone or not. They are financially independent. You guys understand that? I've seen many people in my business, single mothers that have raised their children with this income and have been able to be there for important times with their kids. They are successful people. And so there's all kinds of positions that you can seek, but I want you guys to understand, I don't care what your background is, I don't care what your sex is, I don't care what your race is, I don't care where you were born, I don't care if you grew up in the same neighborhood John and I did, okay? You can climb to the top of the compensation plan, all right? If you want to do it, if you want to pay the price. The question is, are you willing to do it? And that means we have to proceed with unconditional perseverance. And what that means to me is this. You keep pushing the envelope and moving forward until you achieve whatever it is you came here to achieve. Whatever that is. Obstacles will be in the path. That's just the way it works, is it not? Have you ever had anything you've aspired to have in your life that was easy to get? Anybody? I've never had anything easy for me. It always seems like I've had to pay some kind of price. You've heard us talk about establishing our why. You might be saying, well, what does that exactly mean? Tell me what that means to establish your why. It's different for different people. Okay, and so what I want to say to you is this. If you're trying to formulate it in your mind, because you have to have something strong enough that will push you, something that will get you up in the morning, something that will get you to work late hours, something that will get you to kind of prioritize your life to make sure that this happens. And if it's not strong enough to do that, the chances of success start to diminish. You guys believe that? Yeah. It's true. So ask yourself this question. What would I die for? What would I die for? And then you answer that question. Because if that's what you would die for, that should be your why. For me, it's my family. I would die for my family. And so that's my why. That's why I persevere and do the things that maybe aren't as pleasant. Okay, maybe I don't want to do them that day. Maybe I'm too tired to do them, but I do them because my why is strong enough to override the negativity that might keep me from getting there. Understand? Because at some point, now you might not feel that way right now, at some point you're going to be tested along the path here. Trust me, you'll be tested. Okay, so expect that. Find a why that will outdistance the negatives that will come to you. And when I started this business, I remember I thought, what will motivate me? I'd never really made consistently any big money, but I saw people in Nu Skin when I came into the business that were actually making some money. And so I knew it could happen. And I remember I thought, you know what I'll do? I'm going to set a goal. And I wrote this down. Really, for the first time in my life, I wrote stuff down. And I wrote down, I want to make $20,000 a month. I want to be a Blue Diamond within 1 year. And I wrote it down, and I put it on a piece of paper on the fridge. I put it in the mirror I shaved. I put it on the drawer right there by my desk that I was constantly opening. So I just saw it nonstop. It was just going into my brain. Okay, it was just burning into my brain. $20,000 a month, Blue Diamond within 1 year. and I told people what I was going to do. I say, look, this is what I plan. This thing's taken off. I'm going to make $20,000 a month looking for people who want to do this with me. And if you want to come with me, I'll help you do it. If not, that's okay. And I went out on the limb. Now, some of you might be thinking, that's crazy. Why would I do that? Because I may not make it, and I'd look like a fool. My attitude is this: if you're not far enough out on the limb, in fact, you might get laughed at. Is that scary? If you're not far enough out on the limb when you're getting laughed at, you're not living life the way you should. It's not about being in a warm, fuzzy little box where nothing good or bad ever happens, where you're not challenged, or maybe you look foolish. It's not about falling down. It's about getting up. It's about moving forward, and you're stronger than you were the day before. That's what it's about. And if you're willing to do those things, there is nothing that will stop you. But you got to be willing to do it. All right? So that's what I did. And I remember, this is interesting because when Liz and I got married, it was about 4 months before I started doing this business. We were both married before to other people, okay? So we've both each been divorced. And so it's interesting when that happens to you, you go through all that process, you come to this. Liz comes from a family of 10 brothers and sisters. Some of you guys come from big families. Okay, 10 brothers and sisters. You guys will probably relate to this. The pastime of a big family with a lot of brothers and sisters is they like to talk about the one that's not there. Right? Is that true? It is. Okay, and I remember we got married, and I'm like the new guy. And since we've both been married before, it's kind of like, I wonder who this guy is, that Liz is rotting, And I remember, I'm kind of getting looked up and down and whatnot. And it's kind of crazy because he's been coming over to our house for stuff, and there's these little things written on the fridge. And, it's kind of like you walk in and it's like $20,000 a month, blue diamond. It's like, holy crap, man, what happened to this deal? He married some crazy idiot. He thinks he's going to be rich. He's doing some stupid skincare multi-level thing, one of those. And I found out after the fact that they were laughing behind my back. Now, the people closest to you sometimes will be the ones that will put the dagger in your heart the worst. You know what, though? I've been through so much at that point in time, I didn't give a crap. And they're not laughing now. Right? And so, if you know what you want, go get it. Period. All right? Don't let anyone tell you different. Because if you do, they'll steal your dream. What kind of person do you want to be? The do, want, and be goals. In other words, what do you want to do with your life? Because it's not just about new skin. You guys came here today, some of you are thinking, hey, this has got great products, Hey, this is a skincare deal. This is a scanner deal. This is a spa deal. Or hey, this is an oil deal. You kind of define it in that way. This isn't any of those deals. This is a you deal. All right? This is how you want to spend the rest of your life, and this is simply a vehicle to deliver that to you. Period. All that other stuff is just there to create volume, to generate our checks. But at the end of the day, that's not the important issue. The important issue is you. What kind of person do you want to be? What do you want out of your life? I mean, these are important things. We all have shortcomings that we have. We're built, No one's perfect. So sometimes we have to self-evaluate and say, hey, what do I need to improve on? Is this a great self-development tool, guys? Hey, it'll test you. It'll find the weakness. If you've got one, it's going to find it. And you're going to have to face yourself in the mirror and say, look, I got to overcome this thing. You know what? If those of you that have known me in my real life, I am a shy person. I don't like to really talk a whole lot. I'll just sit back. I could live up in the mountains and be totally fine. Problem is, my wife is the most social animal on the planet. She would never hear of that. Right? She has to have people. I mean, we have a gym in our house. I work out there alone because that's why you're in the gym, is to work. She goes down to the gym in the city where all the old people are because she likes to talk to them. And they love her. And she's excited about that. But so we're a little bit different that way. But my point is this. I don't know what my point was. I know what my point was. You got to work on things, all right? So I remember I did a presentation once. Craig Tillotson is the guy who was instrumental in getting in the business, and he's been my hero the whole time because he took the time to believe in me and help move me along, and some broken parts I probably had. I remember I did a presentation once, and first presentation, and I remember looking down on the front row, and the guy in the front row is just, I'm sure he's out. The eyes don't move, they're just staring about a foot above my head. And I'm thinking, I totally suck. And afterwards, Craig grabbed me aside, he says, Jeff, I want to tell you something, don't take this personal, but if you can't get excited about what you're going to say, no one will buy anything from you, ever. Okay. Thanks. Hey, I didn't take it personal. But sometimes you need tough love, you know? And so I had to step it up. I had to step outside of myself. You may have to do that too. And it's okay. Because the more you do it, the more comfortable you get with it. And people want emotion. They want someone who's committed. They want someone, a leader, that will lead with that emotion and excitement. That's our job, all right? And so that's what we do. You may have to develop some skills that may not be that easy for you. Aggressive full throttle 18. What this simply means is this. Anything you hear from stage, you know, add to it and then some. Okay, if we say go out there and become a Ruby, that means you get 4 executives. That's the minimum. And then some. Does that make sense? When I started the business, it was just simply this. Go out and talk to people. Period. I was part-time. And Craig was helping me. And I said, man, if you can help me for the first few months, just to get my feet planted, I think I might be able to do this. I just have to see some early success. So part-time together, we sponsored 18 people in the first month. I was part-time. Now, obviously, you got to talk to more than 18 to get them in. Okay, so we were talking to a lot of people. As we got those 18 in, I surveyed who they were, and I said to them, how many of you really want to become executives? 6 of them said, I want to do what's necessary to become executive. They filled out the letter of intent. I focused on them. Most people would focus on the 12 that need a little more help, right? Let me see if I can help them and move them along. I didn't do that. I let the 12 just kind of do what they were going to do. I focused on the 6. And what did we do? Set meetings at their home where we did presentation after presentation after presentation. Okay, and what we were doing there is driving lines through those 6, looking for someone better than them. And then the next month I sponsored 5 more people. And then the next month I sponsored 5 more people. And the next month I sponsored 5 more people. And the first year to year and a half in this business, I sponsored 5 people a month or close to that. I sponsored more people that first year to year and a half in the business than I have sponsored first level ever since. And I've been in the business over 25 years now. Now what does that tell you? What that tells you is simply this. You have got to strike while the iron is hot. You have got to set the tempo or the pace for your team. Because your team will not follow what you say. They will follow what you do. And if you're blazing the trail and doing what you're asking them to do, they will do what you do. But until you do that, they won't follow you. Does that make sense? Yes. Okay, so by doing that, I had so much on my plate, the only way anyone was going to get any help from me was to call me. And I told them, look, if you're not calling me people to talk to, I'm talking to someone else. So you're going to have to stick your face in there and step in front of someone else. And they knew that. And so they stepped it up. Now you might say, well, that's kind of harsh. What if they needed help? If they need help, then they better let me know. Okay, because we got people to talk to. The train has left the station. They better be on board or they're going to get left in the dust. When you create that energy with your team, you will be killing it. If it's a Sunday stroll in the park, you're going to hate your life. Because you're going to look around and say, what the heck is going on? Right? You want so much to do, you can't get to it all. And I'm telling you what, it's the way the business works. This isn't about management. People will step up and they will grow. And they will do their part and they'll rise to the top. And the compensation plan dictates that. Does that make sense? Yes. People will do what they need to do if their why is strong enough. It comes down to their life and what they want, not what you want for them. All right? And so you move forward. Full throttle 18. Do more than what you're told to do. And set that pace and be the example. Okay? There's no time for negative people, period. I don't care, in and out of your life. Don't let people pour that crap in your ear. Don't do it. Okay? And if you're watching stuff on TV, okay, or the internet that is polluting your mind, get it out. Because we don't have time. There is no margin for error. This thing is going from 3 to 10 billion whether you're ready or not. And so you got to get ready. Understand? The business doesn't care what your problems are. We all have them. But it doesn't care. It's an inanimate object. It has no feeling. It just knows it's going to 10 billion. Doesn't care who the players are. It doesn't care what the problems are. It just knows it's going there. And that message is resonating and it's finding people all around the world. Control your posture. The key to this business is how you present yourself. It's not the words you say. You know, when I say by posture, you may have heard it here a little bit over this weekend, but it's just simply how you control the way your posture. When we think of posture, we think about standing up straight, shoulders back, chest out, held high, you know, head high, right? That's what we think about posture. It's the same thing when you do the business. If this is you, okay, and this is the prospect, and you're trying to talk to somebody, here's what most people do. Say if I'm talking to Karen, here I am, here's Karen. Hey, Karen, this is Jeff. Hey, look, I want to call you because I got this business that you would be really good at, Karen. I mean, you'd be so good. You can make so much money at this thing. Okay, what's happening here? I'm losing my posture. I'm leaning towards Karen. Even though I'm on the phone, can she see this in her mind? Can she feel this? What happens to you when someone comes at you that way? What happens when you walk into a room and a dog that's slobbering, has mud all over its feet, comes running up and jumps on top of you, and they're all over you? What do? Get away from me. But what if I say to Karen this? Hey, Karen, this is Jeff. I haven't talked to you for a really long time, and I almost didn't call you. Okay, because I'm not sure if this is for you or not. The company now is going from $3 to $10 billion. It's been publicly stated, and it is on fire right now. And I don't know if this is for you or not. Maybe it isn't, but you owe it to yourself to see what's going on. Can we meet tomorrow and have lunch? Now, if she's a prospect, now what's the definition of a prospect? Someone who's at 12 o'clock. What's 12 o'clock? Someone who's sick of where they're at. If she's a prospect, she's leaning. All right? I don't have to give her much more detail than that. And I might say something different than that to whoever I'm talking to. There's no canned presentation in my mind. But I do know the posture. I do know the numbers, 3 to 10 billion. And if 3 to 10 billion doesn't get someone excited, then they're the wrong person in my mind. So they're leaning. You can feel them leaning. You want them leaning your way. And once they're leaning, get off the phone. Because if you've got them leaning, you've got them. If they've got you leaning, get off the phone. They're not showing. They're not showing. You're dead. You understand? This is how the business works. You get people in the business, and they sign up. It's still about this. What did I just describe to you? I created so much energy and excitement, I didn't have time to help everybody. What is that? That's this posture right here with my team. If my team is serious, what are they doing? They're leaning. They want help. They want support. And they know I'm going to do it with or without it. But if you're like, oh, hey, colleague, who did we call today? You know? Oh, I know. You know, hey, yeah, you know. You start getting to that mode, you're dead. It isn't fun. We've all done it. And don't get me wrong here. I've done that little thing too. I hate it every second that I don't want to ever do it again. Right? You're here. And you're moving forward, and people will step up, you know. Brent Bryson, we kid around sometimes, we say, you know what, not all turtles make it to the ocean. And they don't, you know. There's all kinds of things. You might say, man, that's harsh. Yeah, it is. So is life. I didn't make the rules. You know, sometimes we sit and we analyze the statistics in network marketing, and we say, hey, can we increase those numbers? And I've heard people say, oh, I think we need to really work on that. My attitude is, are you guys out of your mind? There's decades of data that show how the human race responds. And you think you're going to change it? Why don't you use it to your advantage and go out there and find the ones that are going to do it instead of pandering to the ones that won't? You only have so much time, guys. We go to 10 billion. However you want to spend your time mining your group is up to you. Read between the lines of what I'm saying, though. You don't have time for the negativity. You've got to have posture. You've got to expect challenge. You've got to embrace the challenge, you know? Grow strength from it. Now, you might think that's negativity. It's not negativity. If this is one of those things where you just chant all these, you know, positive things all the time and think life's going to change, hey, I'm all for that. But you know what? Negative will challenge you. Make it your friend. I tell people when I bring them into the business, you're going to run into negatives. You're going to run into all kinds of things. But you've got to want it more than they want you to take you out. Okay? You've got to want it more than they want to take you out. All right? And that's how it works. There's no time for management here. The company manages your business. You and I don't. You know what we do? We go out there and we light fires. We ignite something in people. We lead them. We get people excited. We get them moving down the pipe. People say, what's the job description? My job is to help people get people in the business, period. That's what it is. You know, it's as simple as look at this, listen to this, or do this. You heard me say this last month, right? listen to this, watch this, or do this. We got people that do nothing but just rub the spa on the side of someone's face. And they get lots of volume and they get distributed. Okay? That's the bottom-up approach to the business. You decide how you want to do it. A little bit slower sometimes, top down, same time invested, but you're selling a dream. Sell the dream. Let me ask you guys this. How many of you guys are here because you want to rub cream on your face? Let me see your hands. I don't mean to belittle you. If that's what you're here for, go ahead and raise your hand. How many are here because you want to rub oil on your body? How many are here because you want to make money and change your life? That's the crowd you want to find. All right? That's the crowd you want to find. The other crowd will come to the table. They will, because our products are that good. But you got to send a message that'll get people out of bed. You got to go out there and put a message in the market that'll get people blood boiling, where they realize I finally found what I've been looking for, and I'm not letting go no matter what. All right? That's what we want to do. Inoculate your people. Don't be like a hen. You know, I mean, I've seen this all the time. Some of you guys that have been around a while see this, where new people come into this business and they have this mindset that if I can get that guy or that girl, they're so good. I'm going to be rich. I'm going to make money. You know, have you seen this before? Or you thought that way before? I thought that way. I remember the first time I kind of hit Craig Tillotson with that. He didn't even bat an eye. It's like he didn't even care. And he says, Jeff, it really doesn't matter. And I'm like, it freaking doesn't matter. You're making money. I'm poor. It matters. He says, it doesn't matter. What's important is that you know where you're going. Not one person's going to make or break your deal. I learned a lot from that because it's true. Okay? If you put all of your equity in this business in a person, it will let you down. Put it in yourself. Because you control you. That's all you can control. You can't control what other people decide to do. Toughest time for me was when my best friend quit this business. I tried to talk him out of it. I thought, holy crap, we were going to do this together. You know? And he's gone on to be pretty successful, but there's not a day he doesn't ask me when he sees me, how's that thing going? You know? Brent Bryson used to be under him. I'm like, yeah, it's going pretty good. Pain. And we're still great friends, but it's painful. So my point is this. Don't be a hen. Don't be that hen that's just sitting on this one person. And I hear it, hey, I got this guy, Jeff. I get this guy, we're going to make a lot of money. Great. Good. All right. Let's get the guy. Well, couldn't get him on the call. But yeah, I'm working on him still. I'll get back to you. Okay. 2 weeks later, still don't hear from these guys, right? Here. Hey, got this guy again. Same name. Got it, right? You guys had this happen? You know, that mentality is so twisted because you've got this, I mean, can you guys see what's going on? We've got this giant buffet of food, and you can go and pile your plate up because there's so much, you know, stuff at this salad bar and this food bar that it's just pouring off your plate on the floor. You can't even eat enough of it. It's so plentiful. And then you look over there, and there's the one guy with the meatball that's just trying to balance one meatball on the plate. You're totally missing the message of what you're at. There's more to eat than the meatball. Get out there and do it, right? You don't want to be a hen. We're igniting fuses. We're moving people forward. We're painting a vision. We're dreaming. The tough thing with that is you and I stopped it a long time ago. You used to dream when you were a kid, and somewhere along the way, someone told you that you couldn't do something. Or somebody said something, or something happened where you started not to believe in yourself anymore. And the stuff that you had in your heart when you were young has been lost. I don't want to say totally, but it's kind of muddled over. Dust it off, pull it out, put it on the shelf, and let's go for it. Because now is the time. You can achieve whatever you want to do with this vehicle, and I truly mean that. We've seen it happen. And it's not about the money. The money will give you a life you can only dream about. It's what it means, right? Inoculate your people to negativity. Don't be afraid to do that. Perseverance through adversity. Expect stuff to happen, but you will overcome it. This too shall pass. You heard that before? It's true. I believe obstacles when put in our paths to make us stronger, not to destroy us. Are we willing to take the hit and move forward? That's what we need to do. Success will follow challenge. It's simply a test. Growth can be painful. Absolutely. This is not an easy business to climb to the top. I mean, think about it for a minute. On Wynn stood up here, I think last month, the month before, talked about, in the real world, is it hard to make $5,000 a month? Okay. Is it hard to make $10,000 a month? Yeah. You could make more than that here. There's people that make 6 figures a month, day in and day out here. It's almost like at some point you've been in the business long enough, you're not in that group, you feel a little bit like you need to hide your head. You know, it's kind of like, gosh, look at all these guys, what's going on? It's possible. My point is this, do you think that's hard? Yeah, it's way hard. You have to pay a price, you know? So it's painful to get there, but it's absolutely worth it, so welcome it into your life. You're responsible for your own successes or failure. You. You know, I believe that your business is a reflection of you. And as you look at it, if you don't like what that business looks like, you know how you change it? Change yourself. Because if your downline's not producing, what are you doing? Okay, it's not about your upline. If all they did is got you into the business, thank every day you had that happen. You know, it's like blaming our parents for all of our troubles. You know? Oh, I have a great life. Man, my mom was mean to me. Or they weren't there, or this, or that, right? Yeah, I get it. Pain can freeze people. You know what? Your future is dependent on you. Nobody else. You know? Maybe sometimes you need to draw on someone else too. But my point is simply this. It's up to you. The Lord helps those that help themselves. All right? All excuses are created equal. Like I said earlier, the business does not care. It does not know you. It will never know you. All it knows is it's going to 10 billion. And once we get to 10 billion, it's going to 20. And all it says is, who wants to do it? Who wants to get there? Who's willing to pay the price? Who will do what's necessary in their life to overcome the challenges they have to be part of the fabric of what this great company is becoming? That's all it cares about. And so you and I need to arrange our lives and our mindset to capture that. Because anybody can do this. Trust me on this one. If you believe anything I've said here today, trust me on this one. Anybody can do this. I've seen team leads in this business that used to run a $350 million clothing company. Okay? $350 million clothing company. Team lead. And I've seen people that used to clean toilets for a living as maids. Team lead. People say to me, well, what are you looking for? You know what my answer is? I can't tell you. All I know is what they have in their heart. Because that's the only common ground those two people have, is what was right here. We're a volunteer army here. You and I are a lot alike, even though we're a lot different in a lot of ways. We're here because we want to be here. We're here because that message has gone out and drawn us here. No one has to be here. You know, this isn't a job. We're volunteers. And we can go or we can come. We can stay or we can leave. It doesn't matter. The point is, we're here for a reason. Let's take advantage of it. And you might say, well, how do I do the business? Do I do it top down or bottom up? And hey, here's the answer. You can do it however you want. But it's like building an oak tree. In other words, whatever you build here, you want it to be here for decades. Do you not? Do you want this business to be here for a year? Or do you want it to be here for 30 years? 30. Okay, if you want a 30-year business plus, then you have to build something that looks like an oak tree. In other words, if you looked at an oak tree, that trunk and those roots, it's immovable. It will stand the test of time. Any storm that comes, it stays. Because that root and that trunk is stable, it's strong. That represents the leadership in your team. Those are the strong people. Okay, those blue diamonds and team elites, if you will. The branches might represent some of the weaker executives. The leaves on the trees would represent end users. End users meaning somebody that's maybe just in the business because they love the product, or maybe they're just a customer, they're not even in the business at all, but they're just buying our products. Okay, we have a lot of those. In fact, our auto deliveries, I think we ship out, about half of it goes to people that aren't really distributors. They're customers. So there's a lot of leads, but the problem with leads is they come and go at the seasons, do they not? They do. I look at it this way. I don't care where the volume comes from. If it's leaves, if it's trunk, or if it's branches. All I know is anyone involved in my tree is consuming product. They all do. If they come in for the business because they're dreamers and they put it in place, they're consuming product. I was one of those guys. Our family consumes well over $1,000 a month of new skin products in our house. And I have a lot of leaves on my tree. I have yet to find a leaf on my tree that consumes over $1,000 of product a month. Ever. Customers. So ask yourself the question, what would you rather have? A bunch of leaves or a bunch of people in the trunk that are consuming big time volume? And not only are they consuming volume, but they're motivated to expand the network. I call it volume with legs. Volume with legs is someone that uses the product that they share the business because they're motivated to do so. Does that make sense? Yes. At the end of the day, you've got to do a little bit of both. I lead with the opportunity, I always do, but I don't ignore the product. Because if someone says, hey, tell me about those products, I drop down into the sale of product. If you lead with product, you can do it that way too. But then to try to upgrade it to the business, sometimes it's a little bit tougher because they think they have to be a salesperson of products to get there. The truth is, we're all consumers of the product regardless of how we came into the system. Does that make sense? And at the end of the day, it all cashes, right? Okay, so I tell people, sell the dream and use the cream. Sell the dream and use the cream. Sell the dream and use the cream, right? And you've heard that story. Why we still want to do this business? Because there's multiple waves. The oil wave is coming, the youth wave is coming, the me wave is coming, and there's other waves coming. And it's just one after another, after another, after another, and your footprint just continues to grow and expand and continues to grow. That's what you want. At the end of the day, it's about that footprint and how big you can make it. You want an oak tree, all right? Let it be built by the multiple waves that slam into it. But you want executives in your team, and you want to get them as fast as you can, period. Watch this, listen to this, do this, right? It's that simple. Don't make it more complicated than that. It's about the freedom to be. What I want to do here real quick, and we've had a little bit of technical problems here, but Leaf, if that video is able to work, let's show something, then I'll kind of go back to the PowerPoint and we'll close this up.